Big sales and happy holidays. Happy holidays to you. I hope the holidays are going well for you. You know, I was just talking to Tone, and we were talking about Bradbury because I see some of you before we start the program. You guys are talking about benching Bradbury. What do you think? This is college football? Where you could take Jalen Hurts out and put Tagovailoa in? What are you, out of your minds? What did I always tell you? What's the number one thing? Stop that. Benching James Bradbury? You guys don't know shit about the NFL. I mean it. You have no idea, some of you, what you're talking about. If you pay him, you play him. Plain and simple. You don't sit guys that you have multiple years on a deal and you just gave them a bag of money. I mean, nobody does that. That's not how the league works. Remember, it first starts with the cash register. It's a money-driven league. It's a salary cap-driven league. Hey, is it a great idea? Sure. In fantasy football, college football, he's playing, dude. So Howie Roseman's going to go to his general, or he's going to go to his owner and go, hey, you know that guy we're playing $17 million to? We're going to bench him for a guy making $600,000. Okay. Yeah, that'll be the cherry on top of the failure cake that Howie has baked this year. Dude, he ain't doing anything like that. He's going to pray that Bradbury gets better. Okay? Look at 5-star. F that, they got rid of Carson. Yeah, and they had a $38 million cap hit that they had to justify. And luckily, the quarterback at the time was worth it. Bench Bradbury. You guys sound like you're talking about JV football teams. Hey, it's a good notion, but you can't do it. Jeffrey Lurie and Howie need to go. Oh, boy, I'll tell you. You must come here to have Dr. Sileo help you out here. You know what's funny? For me, at least. Outside of the defense not getting better, because I thought the L would. Season's played out the way I thought it would. You know, except for the win total. I thought the win total would be down. I did. I thought the win total would be down. There's a great shot. You go 13-4. That'd be tremendous. And then who knows what happens when it comes to injuries towards the end of the year. I wouldn't bail on anything right now because you don't know what these other teams are going to do. I wouldn't bail on anything. You may be a little disappointed in your football team, but here, let me give you some solace here. There's like 6 teams with double-digit wins that are in the league right now. You have the easiest road to the finish line. 13-4. Okay, you got killed twice, and you had a stupid loss. Let me tell you this. That Seattle loss is worse than the Jets loss. You can justify the Jets loss. You played poorly, and you had a massive amount of turnovers in the game. That thing that you had on Monday night was a result of what went on the entire week. I mean, seriously. Teams are targeting Bradbury. It's too late now, dude. That's your roster. You're not putting a $17 million guy on the bench. Stop it. Okay? Let me ask you something here. As we get going and we get ready to go into the topics, because I got some topics on Hurts, and I want to have a full circle conversation with you on Jalen Hurts and a come to Jesus conversation today. Is it time to sit the starters? Absolutely not. You haven't wrapped up the East yet. Dude, you got to, hey, that Seattle loss cost you that opportunity. in flight. If you beat Seattle, you could maybe go into that last New York game up in New York, not have to maybe have your starters in the full game. That Seattle loss was devastating in many ways. Okay? In many ways. All right, let me go here with you and ask you something here. How much damage do you think has been done this previous week to the roster in general? And more notably to the locker room. How much damage do you think they did to that locker room this past week with their indecision, their knee-jerk reactions, their overreaching, blaming the wrong person, lying through their teeth, Nick Sirianni losing complete credibility with everybody? He has no credibility. How about this? Your great coach has no credibility. He has no credibility. He lied like 100 times last week. How much damage do you think he did to that roster and locker room? Not just him, Howie, the owner, the overreaching meddling. I think a ton. I think a ton. You know what the biggest self-inflicted wound is? Doubt. Doubt. You're now doubting yourself. Shit, dude, you're not worried about the Giants. But because that the organization put self-doubt on itself, the players are going to go along with that. Hey, if they don't believe it, why should I? It becomes contagious. It's like a disease. Okay? Callie goes, we don't know what goes on inside. That's evident because they lie every week. Callie, you're right. They lie every week. They'll tell you one thing on a Monday and lie to you on a Sunday. You're right. We don't know. I'm not sure they do. They change their opinion and their direction and what they want to have done with the roster every 2 days. That's not stability. That's self-doubt. And now let me get to Jalen Hurts. You know, I'm starting to see something. And we kind of brought it up. And I believe we were the first to bring it up. This eerily looks like the beginning of the end of what happened to Wentz. And do you know that those conversations are starting to creep in a little bit? Are we seeing that now? Let me ask you this. Do you think Jalen Hurts is going to get the same latitude to right the ship that Wentz did? If this thing starts continuing to go or continues to go downhill, do you think he'll get the same latitude Carson got? And here, follow me here. What is it? He's had 48 starts. A decent sample size. Not great. Not all those games have been great. I would say of the 48 games that he's played and started, the 48 starts, I would say half are great. The other half, average to mediocre to below average. You think, see, I think you know where I'm going because I always go to the money. I wonder if Jalen will get the latitude that Carson got and the time to turn it around. Or will they have learned how long do you go before you make a decision? That's a course change We see the team making course changes all the time. Andy Reid, Doug Peterson, Sean Desai, Carson Wentz. Don't act like they don't do it. And don't act like anything is not possible with them, because everything is possible with the Eagle organization and the way they operate. Nothing is out of the realm of possibilities with them. So don't act like that'll never happen, because we've seen it happen. Can we fire an NFC champion coach after losing the locker room? He's not being fired. You know what I would have done too? Why didn't you hire Lovie Smith as a consultant? He's one of the best defensive coordinators on the planet. Now, is he a great head coach? No. But he was in Chicago and he was 10-6 when they fired his ass in his last year up there. Am I looking for him to be a head coach? No. But he's a hell of a coordinator and he knows talent. He's the guy that recruited all those players at Illinois. You got one of them on your team. Devin Witherspoon's probably going to finish second in the Rookie of the Year for the Defensive Player of the Year award. That kid, Witherspoon, was my favorite player in the draft. Does Lovey know DBs? You think? Lovey invented the Lovey and Dungy and Tomlin invented the Tampa 2. Something you're trying to play. At least you'd have a mind in the room that has creativity to it. Patricia, I get kind of, but wasn't he kind of like the same conversation? Hey, you know what? I'm going to go here. Tone, I'm going to go here. Isn't Matt Patricia the white version of Eric Bieniemy? You just never really knew if Matt Patricia was a really good defensive coordinator because he was under the wing of Belichick. You don't know. Bieniemy, in my opinion, Eric Bieniemy deserves an opportunity to become a head football coach. He deserves it, what he's done with Sam Howell. That was his responsibility. He's done a whale of a job. I am 100% in favor of Eric Bieniemy getting a job, and I hope he's one of the top candidates. I totally love what Bieniemy has done in Washington. But they would never bring a guy like that in. Why? Remember what Lovey did out the door in Houston? He won a game in spite of the organization and commanding him to lose the game. Lovey goes, no. That's the kind of coach that frightens Howie Roseman. To ask the guy in Baltimore, you ain't bringing a guy like Lovie Smith in, because he's going to want to do shit his way. And that ain't going to work. Howie ain't going to hire a guy like Lovey. You know why? Lovey ain't no puppet. He ain't sitting on anybody's lap. You're going to do shit his way. That's how Tony Dungy coached him. Tony Dungy has been on this program numerous times. You guys know why he was fired in Tampa? Because he wouldn't fire Clyde Christensen. So the Glazers fired him. Said, nah, I'm sticking up for my guy. Unlike your boy did last week when it came to Desai. He fell on the sword for the wrong guy. He didn't fall on the sword for his coaches. He fell on the sword for the organization. I agree. He should, but I think Patricia should be good just based off the fact that I'm not saying he's not going to be an upgrade, just in the fact that he's a better play caller and he knows disguising defensive coverages. Think about the difference between Tony Dungy and Nick Sirianni. When the Glazers came to him and said, you need an offensive coordinator so that this football team could go win a Super Bowl. You know what Tony Dungy said? No, we need a quarterback. They said, no, we need a coordinator. Now, I think both were right because Gruden is a play-calling genius. If you get the right guy. He won a Super Bowl with Brad Johnson. Somebody functional. Dungy didn't want to fire Clyde. So he said, no, I'm not getting rid of my guy. Within a matter of 8 hours, Coach Dungy told me he was hired, and Bill Polian called him and said, what do you need? He goes, to be left alone on defense. I'll fix it. Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, but just guessing, I think they'll give Jalen some latitude just because of what he just paid. They paid him. And the new record cap hit. The new record cap hit that's going to come up will make it easier for them to bow out of a contract. Remember something. They can get out of it after 3 years. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, both parties can get out of that contract after 3 years. Okay? They can get out of it. So you bring them back next year, then the following year, you make a decision. I wonder where they are with that. I really do. I'm going to get to the topic now. You know, I went on WIP's Twitter page, and I went on a bunch of places. Boy, I'll tell you what, they're bringing that Wentz conversation back. And you know what? People are starting to have a little small whispering conversation in corners now. You have to think, too. Because all I heard, even Tone and Rob talking, what's wrong with Hurts? What's wrong with Hurts? And I'm not saying Tone, but a lot of people want to land on that Rob. They want to land on that Brian Johnson pod. Okay? It ain't just Brian Johnson. It's the kid, too. So here's my topic. Do you think the Eagles right now jumped the gun on the extension? Do they have buyer's remorse? Or do you think they overvalued Jalen Hurts? He's going into his 49th start. Half those starts are okay. The other half are really good. Do you think they have buyer's remorse? Or if you want, I'll give you like another option. A third one. No, they just overvalued him. I say no. He's not a pocket passer. Well, then why are they trying to turn him into one? Chester says not yet. Hurts has some type of disorder. He's not dumb. That is not something that I would put next to Jalen Hurts' name. Dumb would not be part of that. Dave, overvalued. Historically, the Eagles can never self-evaluate. Now, it's either they have buyer's remorse, or they don't, or they overvalued. Look, do I think he deserves the starting position at quarterback on this team for what he's done? Yes. But you know what they paid him for? His growth. From first year to second year. They didn't pay him for any kind of long sample size of being consistent. They paid him on his growth, and they gambled that he would continue to grow at the same rate he did a year ago. And they're wrong there, like they were wrong on Bradbury. They gambled. Shit, I would say they gambled more with Hurts than they did with Wentz. So, 17 starts got him 55. Well, not really, because the year before that, too, 9-8. Hey, by the way, on Jalen's side of the ledger, 3 years in a row, you're going to the playoffs. That's a thing. That's a thing. Okay? That's a thing. How can you grow if the coaching didn't? How could Carson Wentz have grown if the coaching didn't? You're repeating yourself and you're repeating your history again. If Steichen was still the OC, this wouldn't even be a conversation. He's been leading the MVP. He ain't any longer. He's nowhere near it now. I told you, if he goes through these stretch of games and he ends up losing a bunch of them, he's out. It's over. It's over. Stop with that conversation. It's over. He has no shot. What are his odds right now? He's 3,000 to 1. It's over. You got more important things to worry about. A win. Get a win. Get a win. It's not 1,300. He's 3,000, plus 3,000 right now. No, he's not. Christian McCaffrey is at plus 1,200. How about this? By the way, we'll do our top 10 teams and also our top 10 quarterbacks. Is he still in the top 10? Leading the NFL in turnovers traditionally doesn't keep you in the top 10. I would make this comment to you. How is it going to get better when the organization refuses to put quality coordinators around them? Nick Sirianni's not a quality coordinator. He's a quality. You know what Nick is really great at? He's a position coach, masquerading as a head coach right now. How is Hurts going to get better? I would say that there's more deficiencies in your coaching staff than what Carson Wentz had when he was here. Okay? Right? He at least had Doug Peterson. When can you imagine? Can you go all over like the Fanatic, the Inquirer? Today, they kept all of a sudden chirping the word Wentz. There's a poll question on WIP right now. Is Jalen Hurts? Go look at it on Carson Wentz alert. On Carson Wentz alert. Okay? Sills, the gamble was handled, the keys to the OC and Nick's play design. Things have looked off since game one, even the run game. Absolutely. Absolutely, Mike. Absolutely. You got to remember something. The control of the football team started, and Howie's grab for power started in 17. Actually, the end of, no, not 17. When was Doug fired? In 20? That's when the power struggle began. The 2020 season was when the power struggle began. And the keys were handed to Roseman. Roseman, this entire time, in this process, has been heralded as the guy that delivered Philadelphia like he's some sort of Theo Epstein. He's not. I agree with you, Sills. So what do we do as fans? We know shit needs to change. I'll get to it. I got you here. What are we supposed to do? Pray? No. No, because you have two people that will, and get this, you know, I'll say this about your owner. Your owner's going to have to eventually parachute in and do the right thing. He's going to eventually have to parachute in and fire that guy. Or, you know, Tone, I heard Tone say something easy. Or earlier. You know what you're going to need? You're going to need somebody that can hold him accountable. Hire a president. Make him work for somebody. See how he likes it. You put fail safes in for accountability. Howie has no accountability. He's accountable to himself. And here is the examples. When something goes sideways, a position coach is fired. Nobody in his office is fired. How about your analytics department guy? I would fire the analytics guy before I'd fire the defensive coordinator. Wouldn't you? The guy giving me the information to put the game plan together would be the first guy to fire, in my opinion. Not a DC who's just doing what he's told. Lurie's son is in charge. That's right, the analytics department. So you got Jeffrey Lurie's son, who has no idea about football, but pretends he does, giving you the information on game day? What kind of shit is that? You put a game plan around Jeffrey Lurie's kid? What the hell nepotism is that? That's not quality people, dude. That's nepotism. And get this, it looks like it. It just completely looks like it. You've been asking the question all year long. What's wrong with the offense? What's wrong with the offense? Wrong question. What's wrong with the people that are in charge of the offense? What have they done? You see, I'm going to tell you something about last year and Jalen Hurts. I don't think they knew what they had. I don't think they knew what they had. I think they got caught off guard. Remember, going into last year, Howie wasn't even sold. That's why he had 2 1s. That guy was going to go into the draft and draft a quarterback. He wasn't dead sold on him. And it shocked him. It shocked him. Jalen shocked him. Holy shit. That I would say this to you, that the organization was so shocked at his growth spurt, it shocked them more than, or maybe not quite as much as Foles winning the Super Bowl, but that had to be the 2 seminal moments for Howie over the last some odd years since 17, that Foles won a Super Bowl and Hurts' growth spurt. Had to shock him. Damn. And what did they do? Because they're not competent when it comes to developing quarterbacks. What quarterback have they ever developed under Jeffrey Lurie? Give me one. Without Andy Reid being around. Because we see what Andy Reid does with quarterbacks. Name me one quarterback that you have had, that you developed into a superstar player. What year was Wentz drafted? McNabb was an Andy Reid and Joe Banner guy. And I just said Andy Reid. What year was Wentz drafted? Okay, since 2016. Name me a quarterback that has been consistently getting better since they've had to develop quarterbacks and since Howie's had to develop them with no Doug Peterson or Andy Reid. They destroyed Wentz. Wentz destroyed himself too. Absolutely. And now you're seeing a decline in Hurts. It is playing out the same way. Former Eagle tight end Trey Burton, when he went to Chicago, literally said the GM in Philly runs everything. You can't do anything without the GM knowing. That's a fact, but yet media people in Philly refuse to believe that. Refuse to believe that. Angelo and I have been like one of the steadfast people on that guy runs everything. It runs through him. It goes through the owner. There's a reason the kid is in the analytics department and runs it. There's a reason. Look at the control they have over the organization. Look at the control. Okay? You mean refuse to admit that. Trust me. They know it. Must destroy analytics and aliens. LJ, so you got the son of the owner giving the game plan information to the coaches. And the owner is constantly in meetings with these guys. Like he's Al Davis. That's right, Tone. Access means more to the reporters in Philadelphia than the truth. It's funny, isn't it? In Philly, when you have your reporters and your media people, they'd rather have the access than the truth. And the Eagles would rather have the control than the Lombardi. They fell into that. Just like they fell into that 10-4 record this year. They fell into it. Okay? LJ goes, literally everybody uses analytics. Then why is your quarterback suck this year? Why? And by the way, I'll show you the greatest example. All I have to do to show you how some people just like to argue and hear their name called. Let me give you a great point here. If Joe Brady didn't show you how you coach from the gut without analytics and you just put a game plan together, you'll never get it. The Eagles would never put a game plan. You know what? Seals, the negative facial expressions and body language on the sidelines. What's that about? No trust. They don't trust anybody. I'll ask you this. Do you think the Philadelphia Eagles, and what's Jeffrey Lurie's son's name? What's his son's name? Tone goes, they would never put a game plan together with Phil Malone. Look, I think information's important too. Okay, I do. I think it's important. I think the more intel you can have. Is it Julian Lurie? Is that his name? Okay. Do you believe that the Eagles would ever put a game plan together like Buffalo did for Josh Allen with him only throwing 15 passes? Just how stats don't tell the whole story. Analytics don't tell the whole story. Absolutely. Do you believe that the Philadelphia Eagles would put a game plan together with 15 passes to blow out the Cowboys? Do you? I think the Philadelphia Eagles could have put the same game plan together and beat Dallas in Dallas. So, Devin says never. So I guess it's not important for you to win. You'd rather have the aesthetics on how it looks, which is more, get this, like I said, this is really telling me so much this year about this organization, how they're perceived nationally. Hey, by the way, great to see that Landon Dickerson's news was broken nationally again and not locally. Jesus criminy. They have no respect for you. And I know a ton of you watch the show that are media people. They have no respect for you. They would rather tell a national guy like Graziano that Landon Dickerson is having thumb surgery, and no one knew it after the game, talking to the coach on a Sunday, a Monday, a Tuesday. That story breaks when? Where are the beat reporters? You get scooped more than Baskin Robbins. This is unbelievable. You don't get your Philadelphia Eagle news from your local people anymore. You get it from the national guys. They tell the local guys dog shit. Angelo was right yesterday. You know what? I'm glad I never got Sirianni on because he ain't going to say anything. And if he does, it's a bag of bullshit lies. They ain't going to tell you shit. This guy, I listened to him too. Again, man, this guy's got they wrote out like a speech, like speech writers writing out for Joe Biden at the White House. Okay? Think about that. You got to love LJ saying no one likes Angelo. Yeah, you hated him for 35 years on the air, number one. Hey, you're right, LJ. LJ, once again, it contradicts facts. He was the number one rated sports talk host in Philadelphia for 35 years. Nobody hated him. They may not have liked him, but they listened to him. You may have hated him, but they listened to him. Hey, they hated him. Everyone in Philly hated him. I know, for 35 years. Trust me, I get it. They don't even tell the local people the truth. Why in the world would I sit there and listen to that guy when he gets in front of a press conference and tells you nothing but lies? Jeffrey Lurie and Howie have a puppet, and his name is Nick Sirianni. Dude, don't you see this? Can I tell you something here? Nobody on the planet would talk this way in Philly. Okay? Nobody. That's why you don't have shows like this in Philly but mine. Okay? Is Jalen Hurts a one-year wonder? Bob Lang would be on the phone banging my boss in the head. Tell him he can't say that. Okay, Bob. I don't need your guys. I never have. Even when you were in San Francisco. I never needed them. You see me and Bob go back a ways. Oh, yeah. How are you saying this about Steve Mariucci? What, that he's a turd coach? Or a Carmazzi draft choice? Or Jim Drunkenmiller when I was destroying those guys? Jim Drunkenmiller. Get this. You want to know something about Bob Lang, the PR rep for the Eagles? This guy was trying to defend Jim Drunkenmiller. That's all you need to know. I'll ask again. How about this? Tone asked the question about Nick Sirianni. And I'm gonna piggyback something off of what Tone said about Nick Sirianni. How many years do you think Nick has here? I think this year, one more, then middle of the next. It's 2.5 years before they blow his ass out and you're 4-11-1 again, or 17th game, 5-11-1, whatever. Doesn't matter because you're trending that way. How long before you're in that pit and he gets blown out? Minnesota game this year, we ran it 50 times. They probably had to answer to Howie in the analytics. Yeah, don't you remember? That's the game Lane was doing this. How many years do you think Sirianni has? Because I want to expand on that conversation for a second. How many years do you think he has here? And winning coaches get fired. Marty Schottenheimer was 14-2. Took his team to the AFC Championship and was fired. Okay, so it happens. 1, 2. If Jalen Hurts doesn't turn it around, how many years does he have? I'm going to do something here, guys. You too, Tone. I'm going to give you one last chance. Unlike the host years ago, when Carson Wentz was your golden boy, I'm going to give you one more chance. Okay? One more chance. Are you sold on Hurts? I'm going to give you one more chance. And I'm going to remember this day. Are you sold? Yes. I didn't ask you about the play caller. No. For now, Devin. Okay. For now, that's fair, Evan. Devin, that's fair. You're all sold. I'm not. No way. Mm-mm. Can I tell you why I'm not sold? I don't believe the people around him are going to help him and develop him. Because when a quarterback coach or an offensive coordinator, let me say something too. I wonder if the animosity between Jonathan Gannon and Howie Roseman has a lot to do with the fact that Gannon got a lot of credit for last year's defense, and it ragged Howie that someone got credit for something he built. Is that a possibility on why those guys had such a horrible ending in how it ended? That maybe Howie had a problem. I'm not debating whether or not Gannon's good. I'm asking you, do you think that kind of, does that come off like a guy who likes to share success? I don't think so. Do you think that guy likes to share success? I'm still rolling. It's written in blood. I didn't jump off Wentz until the last minute. So I'll do Hurts the same courtesy. He ain't going to get the same time. Because they're not going to want to make the same mistake twice as long as they did with Wentz. They'll cut the umbilical cord off of Hurts quicker than they will off of Wentz if they don't see progress. And don't say that can't happen. They move off of everything. Quarterbacks, Super Bowl coaches, all-time coaches, winning coaches. They move off everything when they need to. Again, it's about control. You're missing the point here, guys. You're not following me. This is not really about whether or not I don't believe Jalen Hurts will ever fulfill his destiny here. Nobody does. That's why there's one Super Bowl in 30 years that you fell into. It's not a coincidence you won the Super Bowl with a backup quarterback. And then you fired the coach who delivered it for you. I still now you're firing DCs. Hey, firing Peterson and then firing Desai and putting Patricia in. Mr. Pencil. Hurts out, I'm out. I'll take my fan. Hold on. Wait a minute. All good. All good. Oh, to go to my boy's point, Sileo stuck in 17. You bet your ass I am, because you fucked up by firing that guy, and it's resonating today. This is the collateral damage that's left behind. And you know what it is? It's not anything with the players and the roster. It's institutional. It's why you're not going to be a consistent opportunity to win a Super Bowl. This is a fraud team. You're 10-4. You look like a 7-6 team. You're damn right. You should have 2 Super Bowls since 17. Instead, you got a control freak that's destroying another quarterback. You keep writing it in blood and you keep going with it. And I know all you guys love Hurts. A lot to love with the guy. It ain't happening. It's never going to happen here. They're never going to develop him correctly. Do you think Howie wants to get here? Ask yourself, let's do this. Let's take Jalen for a second and put him to the side. Do you think Howie's going to bring a competent coordinator in to put him next to Jalen Hurts so that guy gets the complete credit for turning him around, and the organization has nothing to do with it, and that guy turned him around? Do you actually think that they'll let that happen? Does that guy like sharing success? To me, this is institutional. Here's the strengths of Roseman. Tremendous contract guy. Tremendous contract guy. Stroke of genius, actually, when it came to putting Jalen's contract together. Total kudos. Talent evaluating, horrible. By the way, last year was an anomaly. But you know why? Because this year negates last year. To me, it's lucky. Because everything he did this year shows you that last year was a freak. It was a freak circumstances. It was a coincidence. Because everything he's done this year has been a failure. Everything. From the coordinators to the direction of the team to the retooling of the defense to the schematics on defense, everything has been a failure. Everything down the line has been you know what? I'll get here. Swift has been a success. Let me be fair here. Swift has been a success. Carter's been great. Oh, I want to do this too. You know what's really crazy and really sad? I have a stat here. This is insanity. And I couldn't have been more wrong about a guy. I could not have been more wrong. You want to hear something about a guy you're wasting on defense? Hassan Reddick, who's not a great tackler, can't really cover anybody, and why they still drop him in coverage still baffles me. In the last 63 football games, this guy's got 51 sacks. Fucking unbelievable. That's fucking unbelievable. That's like Hall of Fame shit. It's insanity. He's got 51 sacks and 63 starts. That's getting home, and you're wasting them. That's a hell of a – hey, that kid can play, man. I'll tell you this. he's not conventional, and he's not in the room with Parsons and them guys when it comes to being a two-way player. And I mean by playing the run and, covering and all that stuff that is required at that position. But at the end of the day, okay, when it comes to the one thing he does exceptional, and that's get home, he's on pace for 13 and a half sacks this year. That's great. It's great. He's one of the absolutely greatest pass rushers in the history of the Eagles. Hugh Douglas, Trent Cole. There's only one guy, you don't mention anybody near Reggie, but like that kind of stuff. Clyde Simmons. Those kind of dudes that could get home and rush the passer. He's that guy. He's been exceptional. Okay? He's totally been exceptional. Exceptional. Okay? Parsons can't play the run. And that's fair, Twiz. It's fair. They both can't play the run. You're right. The guy in Cleveland is the hands down. You could make an argument maybe for TJ Watt. But the two guys that, in my opinion, Khalil Mack too, man. He's had a great year, even though the Chargers blow. I think it's between the kid in Pittsburgh and the guy in Cleveland. Those two guys are exceptional this year. And if I'm going to go, I'm going with the potential and future Hall of Famer, Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett, if he played in Philly or if he played in Dallas, you'd be talking about him as truly one of the greatest football players that's ever lived. He is a great football player. Watch him play. Cleveland is where they are because of him, not because of what they're doing offensively. I think Kevin Stefanski's done a hell of a job having to go through all those quarterbacks, losing Watson and all that. And he's done an exceptional job. They got 9 wins. It's incredible to think that Cleveland could have 10 wins. Am I right when I say that? That the Browns right now, if you're looking at the Browns have one less win right now than the Philadelphia Eagles do. That's insanity. The Browns have one less win than you. Sirianni could never do what Stefanski's doing in Cleveland. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He'd have lost that locker room. That's my next topic here. And I'm going to get to my top 10 teams. We'll do that at the top of the hour. Let me ask you this. How many people believe liars lose locker rooms? Do lying head coaches lose locker rooms? How about this? Does a lying and cheating wife lose her? Does a lying and loser boss eventually get fired? How long do you continue to listen to lies if you're in the locker room? James goes, obviously. Howie and Jeffrey Lurie, one of the major requirements that you have to be a head football coach in Philadelphia is to be a world-class liar. You got to be like the heavyweight champion of liars. Okay? You got to be a heavyweight champion of lying. And you've got to be convincing of a liar for you to keep the job. Okay? Got to be a great liar. He's like a heavyweight champion of the world. You think Doug would get up there and, hey, how about this one? So do you think how do you think Doug would have handled last week if he was still the head coach? See, I think Howie's biggest mistake he's ever made is firing Doug. And Jeffrey Lurie's biggest mistake is going with Howie. What they should have did was have safeguards for Howie and kept Doug and had a buffer in the middle. That's what they should have did. Just like they should have put Kobe Dean. But you know what the analytics guys say? Because they drafted him and because they put all their intel into him, their analytics department said he's going to step right in for TJ Edwards. And that shows you right there. Analytics people don't know football. They're just going off of what their intel told them. He should be a proper fit. That entire analytics department, run by the owner's son, is a colossal failure. Why doesn't anyone write stories on that? Why doesn't anyone talk about him? Why? Are you afraid? You must be. You must be afraid. You know, the one thing that I'll say about my career, I do go over there. And I've said this to people before. The difference between greatness and broadcasting is this much. You know what that is? Some people will go to the edge. I'd rather pull a dude off the edge than have to push him to it. Most people in my business are safe. Rightfully so. Godspeed. You guys do it right. I don't. You guys do it right. I'm not saying I do it right. I'm just saying I can't hold back. It's my nature. It's my nature. And I tell you the way it's incredible that Angelo survived that long. I hear people now are saying that Angelo's more critical on my program. He texted me last night. He goes, "It is so refreshing to be on a show like yours where you can speak your mind. I will always be on your show." And I'm like, "Man, thank you. You're a mentor of mine." He goes, "Dude, I'd say that." You know what he said to me? He goes, "One of the best I've ever heard." And I've never really looked at myself like that because that's subjective. I've never looked at myself. I've always known I was unique. But I never looked at myself as better than anyone else. I swear to you, I never have. Never have. Not anything I do. I don't go, I'm better than him. And bro, I do not do that. Because get this. Do you guys here? Just so you guys know. 5-star. Do you know what the most successful television show is in the history of TV? Do you guys know what the number one show is of all time? You want to hear something that nobody in the planet would ever think? The Lawrence Welk Show. Do you know how many shows Lawrence Welk canceled? Everybody here, we're going to do the Nutcracker. Start playing the violin. My folks watch that thing. My folks watch that. And I'm like, they canceled everything. The Lawrence Welk Show is the most famous, highest rated show of all time. And Johnny Carson said, who would have thought that would have worked? So you never know. You can't go, I'm better than him. Dude, it's a true statement. Unbelievable, right? So when I see something, and you know why I'm having a lot of fun in Philly? Because 99% of the people that cover your team cover it with a different lens. You have to be safe with advertisers. That's right. Shooter, you're dead right. I had a guy bring that up to me last week. He goes, you know why you're not on WIP? I said, I know why. I've been told why. I've been told by them. I know why. They cowered advertisers and the Eagles. I know this. It's okay. Okay? I know this. Crazy. Now, you tell me, how does your team turn this thing around? Will these next 3 games help or hurt their chances as they go into the playoffs? I say it helps them. And here's why. I say it helps them. Okay? I say it helps them. Maybe what it will do is calm the waters down. I'm concerned about the locker room. Get a win. Dave says 11-7 is real. No. I think they're more of a 13-4 team. Okay? Okay? I think they're more 13-14. I think they win. Get this. I think Philly wins out. That's right, 5-star. Let's build some confidence back. And do we not agree? Let's build some confidence back with the men in the locker room. Nick's got to get some credibility back on his side. You've got to show the process works and that you can weather a storm. You've got to show this, in my opinion. See, LJ says play the young guys in the secondary. So you want to start experimenting going into week 16. Not me. Why in the world? I mean, now we're back to talking about training wheel coordinators again. Now you want to put training wheel corners in. What's wrong with you, man? You really think the young guys are going to cover in the playoffs Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel? Give me a break. Are you crazy? You have no experience and no talent. Sills, sing Fly, Eagle, Fly if they win out. You got a deal. I'll do that. Yeah, because Bradbury. Roland, what are you talking about, Roland? You're paying him $17 million. You got to pay him. You got to play him. You don't know the rule. That's the rule in the NFL. You pay him, you play him. You're not going to sit a $17 million corner for a guy who's never played. And now you want to start experimenting in week 16. That's panic. How do they fix this? We know they're not scared to tackle. That's a fact. Here's how you fix this. Giants, Cardinals. That's how you fix it. Do the right thing. Work on your techniques. And let's see. Get this, guys. I'm going to say one more time to you. Okay? I'm going to say one more time to you here. You have to wait and let this play out. What I'm talking about is more behind the scenes. Do I think you have enough intestinal fortitude in players in the locker room to do something in the postseason? Once again, my problem is with the self-inflicted wounds that the organization is putting on the team itself when they don't need to be. Okay? Let's see what happens in San Francisco. What if San Francisco versus Baltimore loses Kittle? Or they lose Trent Williams? You think they're the same team? What if the Cowboys? Dak gets hurt. Okay? You don't know. Seals, do you like the 3 safety sets this Sunday? It would help the backers out a little more. if they went 3 safeties. I think it would help the backers, but I wonder what it would do when it comes to what kind of passing routes. And again, not that I'm going to be fearing the New York Giants this week because I don't think they have anything. I think the kid Waller's playing. Am I right when I say that? There's really no threat. My issue is going to be, boy, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't want to see Saquon Barkley getting rolling. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't want to see him getting rolling. Okay? How can the players do anything with Howie in the way? You have to be smart about it. That's what you have to do. Okay? Henry goes, Sills likes tearing our team up. Bipolar? Your organization is run like it's bipolar. Remember something, Henry. I only talk about what I see. Your organization acts bipolar. One day it's here. Okay? One day it's here. One day it's there. One day it's here. One day it's there. One day it's over here. You act bipolar every day. Your coach acts bipolar. So wait a minute here. Look at what Henry said to me. Sills here, then he's by here. No, that's because your head coach said everything was okay for 3 days and then started lying the entire rest of the week and then fired a guy Sunday. Is that not bipolar? Is that not bipolar actions? That's what I'm covering. I'm covering your bipolar actions. Isn't that right? How you like Matt Patricia, Sills? I don't know. I think Matt Patricia is probably an upgrade. I think he's probably an upgrade because of what he's done and where he's been and who he's been working with all those years up in New England. So I'd have to think that that's an upgrade. Okay? 40 Boy goes, who got fired? My God almighty. Oh, that's right. They kept him as a coffee guy. Go get me some coffee. Yeah, you know what Sean Desai's job is right now, boy? You know what it is? You know what his job is? Down and distance. That's his job from D coordinator. Okay? Did Slay's not coming on right now until they get a win. I told you that. And quite frankly, I don't care if he does or he doesn't. I'd love to have him. But if he doesn't, I don't care about that. Okay? I don't care. Why did Patricia have Bradbury play press at the end of the game? Because he's a press coach. It's why Slay was fired, basically, in Detroit and traded. My God. Guys, Matt Patricia and the New England Patriots and their corners were all press corners. Stephon Gilmore, Darrelle Revis. All the people that played in the secondary for that guy and for Patricia were press cover corners. They weren't center fielders. That's why he had him do that. Quite frankly, you could blame Matt Patricia for putting him in a bad position. Matt Patricia lined up Bradbury in a poor position. Asante Samuel Sr., all press corners. Ty Law, all press corners. Patricia was up there 18 years. They didn't play zone. When have you ever seen Bill Belichick defense that played zone. Never. What does Patricia know about playing zone defense? Nothing. He's not a zone DC. Okay? Hate to tell you. I don't know what. Hey, you got more problems with your coaching staff than you do with your players. And your defense is not really well tooled. Okay? It's not. But you got bad coaching with bad players on defense. In a bad scheme. So when you guys go Sills, how can you fix it? The offense has got to be more sustainable in drives of 10 plays or more. It's the only way to fix the defense. Howie can't go shopping anymore. Okay? Howie Roseman can't go shopping. He can't. So what does that mean? Now you need some coaching, not analytics. You need coaching. And you know what that means? You need to have a head coach walk in there and go, hey, dude, we need to run the ball. And we need to give our defense a break here. We can't have 3 and outs. Okay? Sills, they don't understand you evaluate a team on a day-to-day basis, not year to year. Absolutely. Dirty D, absolutely true. It's a week-to-week proposition. Dirty D, check this out. 16 days ago, you guys were the number 1 seed and cruising. Now, you're in the 5 hole and you're in chaos. Look how fast. Is that not bipolar? Roland goes, we need Brian Flores. You think they would ever hire a guy like Brian Flores? Name me a coordinator you've ever hired like that, where a coach didn't have some say. I mean, dude, your best coaching staff, once again, is with Doug. You had 3 head coaches. You don't got that now. They'll never do that. Okay? They'll never do that. Dude, they're killing that quarterback. They're totally killing him. Will Jalen get better? No. Oh, wait. When you had a coach like Steichen, his growth spurts were huge. When you have inexperience around him, they're going to be minuscule. Minuscule. You want an example? Here's an example. Since Ken Dorsey's been fired, you think Josh Allen looks like a completely different quarterback in Buffalo? Yes or no? Yes or no? Matt goes, Morrow is the main problem. Why would you ever get mad at Morrow? He's Chicago's trash can. You're trying to coach a trash can into being what? Chuck Bednarik? Stop doing that. You guys are going like this. What about Shaq Leonard? What about Zach Cunningham? These are all trash cans. These are trash cans that other teams put out front of the house to have the garbage picked up. And you're making it sound like Sean Desai was going to turn those guys into Hugh Douglas. Okay? Yeah, like you want Morrow to play like Ray Lewis. All right, I'm going to we're going to talk to our friend Tone. Mark Farzetta is going to join us also at 4:30. We have a ton of stuff here today. Our weekly top 10 quarterbacks, our odds for the MVP award, the best NFL teams, week 16 of the National Football League. And again, our top 10 teams in the National Football League. We'll do that. But don't forget our great friends at Hooters. Folks, do me a favor. We're giving away an opportunity to give you a gift certificate and merchandise with our friends at Hooters. All you guys have to do is email us your information, danseleoshow@gmail.com. You'll get an opportunity. You may hear your name called out on Monday, in a football Monday, for your shot to win, without a doubt, one of our great gift cards from our friends at Hooters. And during December, the Santa Bucks are back, $5, great stocking stuffers for you to be able to put those into stockings. Also, on top of that, don't forget the calendars are out, 2024. 9 of the girls, I believe, are featured in the calendar. There's $100 in coupons inside the calendar. Also, HootersToGo.com, great place for you to go and order off the app. You don't have to go into the place. You can bring them home to your house. And again, too, we talk Wednesdays. You got it. Wing Wednesdays, man. One of the great promotions that's gone on for over 40 years. 1983, all you can eat. Don't forget our lunch specials, too, Monday through Friday, 11:30 to 3 p.m. Boneless wings, happy hours, Monday through Friday, 4 to 6. Again, $6, 6 items, all that. Kids eat for free on Saturdays. Go to northeasthooters.com. That's northeasthooters.com. And do me a favor, when you roll in, tell them Big Sil sent you.
Eat chicken wings, buy Hooters things. Christmas is near, shop, have a beer. Christmas shopping shouldn't be hard. Give your friends a Hooters gift card.
This year, stuff their stockings and yours too with a one-size-fits-all gift card. Buy a $25 Hooters gift card and receive a $5 Santa's bonus card. Make it Hooters for the holidays.
Eat chicken wings, buy Hooters things. Christmas is near, gift cards are here. Good at Hooters everywhere now. Hooters gifts are always favored.